Welcome, everybody, to today's session on Business Analyst Series 2023. This is our introductory session today, so we're excited you're coming. Let me just go through. We're just looking forward to you guys enjoying the next 90 minutes. And we ask that you put any questions or challenges you have in the Q&A box or the chat box so that we'll answer those during the session. You're encouraged to network and share your LinkedIn in the chat. If you have any questions outside of these sessions, we ask that you put them in the forum or UiPath. I will actually be adding some URLs to the chat today where you can find the recordings, where you can ask the questions, everything you'll need. And we also have those on the slide, so you'll have access to those. So today, I'm Diana Gray. I'm the Community Marketing Manager for the Americas. We also have Christina Vidu, who's a Global Manager for the marketing community. We also have another colleague with us on the phone, Andrea Tomasco, who's part of the community team. We have Manjula, who is the founder of the Next Innings, and very excited to be partnering with them today. And we have Mukesh Kala, who's the RPA developer from Boundaryless. And then we have also Ashwathi, who is the program manager from the Academic Alliance team. So I'm not going to go through all these names, but for the next 5 weeks that you spend with us, we have a great list of speakers. All of them are very well versed in the business analyst content, and so we're really excited to be bringing this to you today. So these are slides that, again, you'll have access to with a recording. I'm not going to go through them all, but as you go through the sessions, you'll be required to do some self-paced study work for each week that you're with us. So starting on Wednesday through Sunday, this is the list of what we need, and we'll have in each session where you would go to put your certificate. So the important thing also is just to make sure that you're registered for each session. We have 2 sessions a week, today and Wednesday, and then we start again next Wednesday with the second round or the second week. So every week the sessions are on Mondays and Wednesdays. So the first link we're going to be putting in the chat is the http://bit.ly series 2023. This is where you register for each session. So if you only registered for the first session, you want to go in there and make sure that you're registered for all the sessions individually. And then the other link we're going to be putting in the chat is the UiPath Forum Business Analyst Series URL. This is where we can answer questions after our sessions. If you run into any issues, you have any questions, you just post them there, and we'll be monitoring that forum. And that way you can always know that around the clock you have access to experts who can help you. Prior to today's session, we asked everybody to take prerequisite self-study training. So if in fact you registered just recently within the last couple of days and you haven't had a chance to do that, we have links of where you can do that. That's always on the series page as well. And there's a form that you need to just update your certificate. So far, we have about 192 people who have taken the prerequisite self-study training. And again, if you have any questions, just ask us on the forum and we'll take care of that. So the way I wanted to talk to you about is this is week's 1 agenda. You'll see this on the series pages as well. The things I want to point out here is that on the day 2 of each week, we'll have a Menti quiz, and there's an opportunity to win prizes there. And then after you do the self-paced training for each week, you're going to go down to the bottom of your series page and find the link where you need to upload your assignments. So that will be on the second day of each week. We'll be telling you this each time we have a session, just to make sure that you follow with us and everybody understands. So just wanted you to know. So I'm going to turn it over now to Atul Trika, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the demo project overview that we're going to require your participation in at the end of this session. So Atul, if you want to talk. Atul, we can't hear you.
Just a moment. Wait, let me...
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Greeting everyone. My name is Atul Trekha. I'm the UiPath MVP for 2022 and 2023. I'm also leading the UiPath Ohio chapter. On behalf of the UiPath community, I excuse me, I welcome you all to the UiPath Business Analyst Series. In a world where change is constant, embracing the power of automation is just an option. It's a necessity. Today, we stand at the intersection of innovation and opportunity, and this series is your passport to navigate the exciting landscape. Throughout the UiPath Business Analyst series, you will find a carefully crafted curriculum designed to sharpen your skill and prepare the participant for the UiPath Certified Automation Business Analyst certification. The speaker will cover many hot topics like communication mining, task mining, overview of document understanding, and my personal favorite is the business analyst fundamental, which I believe is a must-to-have course for everyone because it has so many good artifacts that you need when you are building an enterprise solution. Lastly, I encourage each and every one of you to attend every installment of this series. Why? Because woven into the fabric of our program is a unique opportunity to participate in various quizzes, and at the end of series you will have a chance to apply the skills that you acquire in a real world scenario. So my friends, embrace the series, immerse yourself in the knowledge shared, and let's embark on this collective adventure all together. Thank you again for being a part of this series. And like Diana mentioned, there is a project, a kind of assignment that we will be asking you to complete at the end. Don't worry, this is nothing very like we are going to cover. The speakers are going to cover mostly all the topics. So this, at the end of the series, I think all the knowledge that you have gained, you should be easily able to complete this assignment. And this assignment is just like, I mean, what you will be dealing when you are working on an automation project in real world. So this is exactly like what is a problem statement as a business analyst, or what is how you have analyzed the solution, what you are proposing. So covering all the details about the PDD, which we will be covering during the session. So all the facts that you will be learning, you will just put all together in one place at the end of the series. So that's what I'll suggest everyone. Please make sure you stay with us throughout this series, not just the one, but throughout all the series, and you will gain all the knowledge that you require to be a successful business analyst in an enterprise organization. Thank you so very much. Over to you, Diana.
Great, thank you. So today's speakers, we're going to turn it over to, but we have Anurag, who's a program manager at Accenture. We have Mukesh, who's the RPA developer for Boundaryless, and Dan Fishkin, who's a solution architect for Tapestry. So over to you guys, if you want to pull up your slides.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen now.
Yes.
Is my screen visible?
Not yet. There we go. You have it.
And am I audible properly?
Yes.
Wonderful. So let's start. All right. Hello, everyone. First of all, warm welcome to this amazing Business Analyst Series. Those of you who are in the world of automation, you know that this entire continuum is really exciting and interesting. Those of you who are entering this automation continuum, feel very lucky because this is a great space to be in. And the way automation and this technology is moving and growing, I mean, we are going to have a very bright future. And with this series, you can build your career in this functional area. And I congratulate everyone and welcome you again in this particular series. I'm going to talk about the basics of business analysis today. In the week one, there will be areas where you have already covered a lot of areas, but as a part of prerequisite, I will give you my set of experience, my learning as a BA. So just get excited because this session is going to help you immensely. And there is a long journey forward. This entire series will give you a glimpse of multiple advanced business analysis as well. So you're going to talk about process mining, task mining. So the new wave of automation is going to have these new set of analysis tools. So let's get started. Before we get into the specifics of the session and I open my slides, I want to introduce myself. My name is Anurag Upadhyay. I'm a program manager with Accenture. I have worked here for almost 1.5 years now. Prior to that, I was with PwC, where I worked as a project manager and a business analyst. My role is to make sure that the project runs successfully. I currently lead a team of business analysts and technical architects, but I started my journey in the automation world as a BA. And I have, ground level experience of those challenges which a BA generally experiences. So whatever I'm going to talk about will be definitely dipped into that experience, which I gained during my early days in the automation world. And I'll talk about the career progression also, where how I moved from a BA role to a senior BA role, then to a project manager, to a program manager. I'm going to talk about that journey also. But in today's session, whatever you have learned in your self-study training modules as a prerequisite, I will go through those modules. I will give you my set of knowledge, my set of learning on them. And then we'll talk about the general way of the business analysis, the traditional business analysis as a part of UiPath implementation methodology. And then I will talk about specific documents which a BA creates and specific areas where a BA has the most important and pivotal role, the process discovery part. I'll talk about that with using a certain document set. So this entire session today, I hope will give you, first-hand experience, which I have gained with my career in automation. So let's get started, folks. All right. So who is a business analyst, RPA business analyst? I'm sure while you were studying those prerequisites, you found this keyword many times because this entire series is focused on a business analyst. But if we talk about a literal definition of a BA, a BA is primarily a bridge between the developers and the SMEs of the company domain teams. So in any automation, you will find, or in any project, you will find two sets of stakeholders, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. But as an RPA BA, your primary stakeholders would be the SMEs with whom you will sit and get a download of the process. And then the internal stakeholders would be your developers who will actually build the code with the documents you share with them. and I'll talk about those documents. But a BA is primarily a bridge between these two parties. A BA has to get a download of the process which the automation team wants to automate. And then while you have taken that download, the BA will build some documents so that the developers understand in their own lingo, and then they build the code out of that PDD or the BRD document. And BA plays a pivotal role, has a big, huge, humongous role during the entire life cycle of this automation. And BA is involved right from the beginning till the last point of the UiPath implementation methodology, or the SDLC life cycle, software development life cycle. A bot is a software which is created with the general way of discovery, design, development, testing, and then go live. So the entire life cycle with which a bot is created, the BA has to play a very, very important role during every stage. I'll talk about the involvement and the responsibilities of a BA in individual stage, but primarily the BA would be more involved in the discovery phase, because a discovery phase gives a direction to an automation program. If you have identified the right set of process for automation, you have actually carved a path for success. And there you actually decide whether your automation is going to take more timeline or will have more hiccups during the automation development. So that phase is a very crucial phase in which the BA plays a very, very pivotal role. So I have kept a specific slide for that particular stage, but I hope with this introductory slide, you understand what exactly a BA do. Moving to the second slide, where I'm going to talk about the key stages of implementation and what role a BA plays in each and every stage. So this particular slide, I'm sure you would have already seen if you have done the UiPath implementation methodology module. So this is the general way in which implementation happens. The first stage is about the kickoff stage, where you understand the automation readiness, you build the tracker of all the issues, and then the project manager kicks off the entire program. The second stage, where a BA primarily gets in, is about the process assessment tool and opportunity assessment questionnaire, where in order to do the analysis, a set of questionnaire is built, which is going to act like a Bible while you have a discussion with the SME. And those questions would be the game changer questions, because if you ask the right set of question to the right set of SME, you will be documenting the right set of information. And if the right set of information is included in your document, then it will have to have more robust automation, and there will be less exceptions. There will be no such rework. So this particular stage where BA gets in and prepares for the workshops, there exactly you have to define how and what kind of questions you're going to ask. Then the next stage, the process analysis stage, where the workshops are scheduled, you sit with the SME, you get a download of the process and start documenting the as-is part of it, how exactly a process is worked out in that system, in that ecosystem. So the process could be of any domain, correct? Today, you might be working with a domain which is into retail. Tomorrow, you might be working in a domain which is into banking. But the framework with which this analysis is done remains same. The traditional way of business analysis will involve two prime parties for the discussion Number one, the BA, and number two, the SMEs or the process agents. SME, subject matter expert, process agents are the same people, and the lingo may change in a project. Somebody may say process team. So, but those people are those responsible people who work on that process. For example, we talk about an order to cash process. Under order to cash, there is a customer billing process in which 4 people or 4 FTE, full-time employee, and I'm sure you now know the word FTE, full-time employee. So 4 FTEs are working, who take care of the process end to end. Their role is to make sure that the process starts and ends within their set of work, and whatever action they have to take are taken. So they are the custodian of the process. So business analyst has to get the understanding of the process from those people. And once the understanding is done, then you start documenting those questions. Later, the solution design document is built based on the PDD you have created. The technical architect gets in, and then you start thinking that how this new process will look like. And what is this new process? This is a to-be state of the process. To-be state, how I'm envisaging the process with the bot in the picture. There exactly you put a bot now, that how a bot will extract the data, how the bot will validate the data sets, how the bot is going to email to the stakeholder. There you exactly build a blueprint of the to-be state. And once the to-be document, as is document, all such documents are built and shared with the stakeholders for their set of validation and approval, then you proceed for development. If you get a signed off PDD, you can get started with work. And then the development team starts building a code out of the PDD, out of the SDDs. And then you test, you have a UAT, user acceptance testing, where you invite the process team or the process owner to get their buy-in on the code which the development team has built. Once the team gives you a green signal, a sign off on the the UAT part, then you move ahead to the deployment part, where you work to make the bot go live. And once everything is live, then there is a window to have hypercare, where you ensure and keep an eye that the way we build the bot, the way we expected the bot to run, is that happening? Is the bot working the way we wanted? In that window, you keep an eye on that. Once everything is sorted and the customer thinks that whatever we wanted is there and is being built by the bot, then you may proceed for the project closure. But then BA has to be there. A BA will ensure that the handover happens successfully. Now the customer feels elevated, motivated to work with the bot. The customer is not frightened. The customer doesn't have issues in accepting that now they have a system with a bot. So a lot of areas where you build some tangible documents, for example, operating guides, operating manuals, in which you write how exactly the bot will behave if this problem occurs, and what is the role of an SME if this thing happens. So once that team feels confident, and then you can primarily believe that your automation ran successfully. So BA has a role towards the end as well, to ensure, to give a feeling of satisfaction to the project team, so that they feel they are now happily working with the bot. I hope with this slide you are able to understand the key stages of automation and how a BA plays a role. Now, a BA has to play multiple roles that I will explain in the upcoming slide. And since this is week 1, I'm going to talk about some of the basic things in business analysis. Because business analysis is a functional part. There are 2 prime areas in which an automation professional work: technical and functional. And BA, I would say, is a techno-functional role. A core technical role would be a developer role. A techno-functional role will have, definitely the functional knowledge, but some technical knowledge as well. So we must understand what exactly a BA is required to do. What is the role of a BA? I just talked about, a few lines about, role of a BA in key stages, but then we'll deep dive into this particular slide to understand, the prime responsibilities of a BA. I hope you all are with me till now. If yes, if you can just give me a yes in the chat box.
Yes.
Wonderful. All right. So what does a BA is required to do? First of all, BA could be, and I'm sure would be, the face of an automation team to the SMEs or the process team. So BA has to work with the SMEs day in, day out. The BA has to understand how and which part of the department is going to get automated, with whom I have to initiate my discussions, who are the SMEs with whom the download has to happen. So the BA is required to gel along with everybody and make sure that you understand the ecosystem in which you are going to operate. Okay, so I would say responsibility is to get to catch hold of, people who are going to be really handy during the implementation, and not just knowing. In my personal experience working as a BA in this industry, I know you have to understand the person as well, that what kind of person is the SME. I mean, is the person too particular about timeline, deadline? Is the person too particular about documentation? So you have to understand the pulse of the customer. You have to understand how the other person thinks, how pushy or how sharp the person is on a particular thing. So you have to understand something which is unsaid also, which is about the social part of it, or which is about uh, the non-verbal things which you have to sense while you work in that process or the project. Second part is definitely about the tangible deliverable to create business case, process definition document, test cases, which is an artifact which you build with which the entire project can operate. If there are no such documents, the project won't fly, because the information which an SME shares you while speaking can evaporate. You might forget what the person is saying, or you might just remember the happy flow. I'm sure you must be knowing what is a happy flow. Happy flow is nothing but a simple, structured way in which a process is happening. A to B, B to C, C to D, and D to E. Simple, happy flow. But then in real world, I personally think that happy flows doesn't exist. There will be new nuances, there will be new exceptions in the process. There will be different ways in which the entire process can be operated. There could be different ways for a particular client, for a particular vendor, in which you have to deviate from the happy flow. In order to, put all such cases in your automation code, you have to document them really well. That's why documentation is the prime thing. Most prominent and important role of a BA. You must know how to do the documentation. So first part could be about the communication part, working with teams, but second part is more about documentation part. Third is about the automation pipeline creation. Automation has to be scaled. Automation is not just about one small thing or one small stint which you did and just you went away. The team just moved out. No, nothing like that. You have to scale the automation starting from a pilot or for a baby process, but then you have to think digital. You have to think that the entire enterprise is meant to be digital or automated. So you build the pipeline in which the automations will keep on happening. Today, we are automating this, but after 2 months, we have this particular automation in pipeline. Then in the month of Jan, we have this. So this is how you create a continuous pipeline in which the entire flow of processes is there. And while you build the pipeline, you make sure that, so there are ways in which you build the pipeline, but primarily right now, you just understand that you have to think big and think about automating the department so that you build a pipeline in such a manner that you follow the principle of Pareto, that 80-20, maybe with a 20% of effort, you are covering the 80% of the volume, correct? Maybe with that 20% of the process, your key processes of other department are also getting automated because they were similar. So while you build that automation, you actually created something which is replicable, which has components of reusability. So you have to think like that with which effort I'm getting, how much impact or value. So with this mindset, you have to create the pipeline. Then departmental planning and scheduling. I mean, scheduling workshops with the SMEs, sitting with them, compliance monitoring, making sure that the right set of compliance are being followed, the right set of access for the bot are being given. Risk management, you have to ensure that, wherever you think that my discovery can go wrong or wherever my timeline can get affected, impacted, or derailed, I'm raising red flags. I'm calling out, I'm informing people, I'm documenting things so that you ensure that the risks, which are general risks and risks which you don't know, are taken care. A lot of time you might not know how a risk will get generated, but the known risk which generally occur in an RPA process are taken care. You have a contingency plan, you have all sort of, plan B if, plan A doesn't work. Then a lot of time you have to do the ROI analysis, you have to give a cost benefit analysis to give a view to the management that because of automation, you are saving this much FTE, you are saving this much manual efforts, your error reduction is happening, your MTTR, mean time to resolve issue, is going down, your accuracy is improving. So you have to work on multiple KPIs and map with the automation you are building. And definitely reporting to stakeholders, which also comes as a part of documentation. You have to keep an special eye to inform people whatever you are doing, wherever you are getting stuck, wherever there is a red flag, you make sure that people are aware, updated, so that right set of action can be taken well in time so that your project timelines are not affected. So it's a very, very important role. And this allows you to become active in, all stages, being active in the entire journey of automation, and it puts you in spotlight. It gives you visibility. So those of you who are already extroverts, you will enjoy this role. Those who are enjoying, their roles in which they are not getting that visibility, this role can help you come on the surface. This role can empower you to take decisions, to talk to senior people. So make sure that, while you work on this journey, you understand what exactly you need to do to come up and to emerge as a great business analyst. Now comes the skills which you require to become a RPA BA. I mean, I hope I have given you enough information about the key asks or the expectations from a BA, correct? Because BA sometimes has to act like a project manager. I have acted like a project manager where I made sure that the cost, quality, and the timeline are taken care. Generally, the project manager is responsible for such things. But then when you move to the ladder and you see that, you have leadership skill, you understand the project team well, you understand the nitty-gritties of the process well, then you can step up as a project manager. I have seen people taking up this path to maneuver faster in their career. So since you understood the roles and responsibilities of a BA, I want to talk about key skills which are required to become a great business analyst. First is about a good understanding of the business and industry he or she is analyzing. Correct? Industry or a domain in which you're operating. For example, today you're working with a banking client and your role is to automate their personal banking division. Now, you might not be knowing about the trade finance domain. You might be knowing the personal banking because you use those services on a daily basis, but you don't have a clue about the trade finance domain. So if you have more detail of the trade finance domain, it will help you to understand the lingo, the language in which the process SMEs are going to talk about, and the details of the process. So I will always say that it's a good to have skill if you have that domain knowledge, but if you don't have, that is okay. In my personal experience and my past engagements, I have worked with various clients and stakeholders and projects where I didn't have the domain information. But then while speaking to them, while going through those documents, I was able to gauge how they operate. So like I mentioned earlier, it is a good to have skill if you know about the domain, but if you don't, then you don't need to worry. I have worked with a banking client. Next project was with a cement client, and the next project was a pharma client. So the clients may move, and it may be really hard to expect that you know all the domain, but if you can quickly understand their lingo, their ecosystem, their space, it will help you to document those things well. If you don't have that information, go through internet, understand how the project or the process work. I have personally went to YouTube many a times to understand how cement is being built. They were talking about adding this much ingredient from that team, and that team procures this ingredient from this vendor, calcium carbonate, and so many things. So I understood the process on YouTube, that how exactly it works. And when I clicked the entire process, that okay, they were talking about this team and that mixing, and then this outcome or the output comes. So I was able to gauge and correlate with what they were speaking. So if you know already that this team deals with this particular domain, just go through the general information on YouTube, and I think that would suffice. Second is about the level of curiosity and communication skill. Now that is really, really important, because in this particular role, you will have to communicate with a lot of people. You will have to document information. So if you have great communication skill, you will be able to ask better questions. And asking better questions is also a key skill, which I always feel that a BA should have. I have also listed it here in the third point, but you have to have good communication skill. If you don't have good communication skill, it's okay. You might be entering into this journey now. But my suggestion would be to have a view towards knowing people, towards getting into the details, being able to ask questions. If you're not an extrovert person, but still you want to get into this field is for you. The only thing which you want is to have the ability to get into the details. Once you will start understanding those details, you will have questions coming up naturally, which you need to ask to people. So there are a number of ways in which you can become good at communication, but my personal opinion that this role will always have a requirement to speak to multiple people, document a lot of things. So it's good that you brush up your such skill, put a focus on improving that skill so that you are able to perform well. Third, which I just talked about, able to ask good questions and have the patience to listen to complicated explanations. A lot of time it will happen that you might not be understanding the process while they are giving you the download. It has happened to me many a times. They are saying something and I'm not able to correlate. They are saying maybe thrice and I'm not able to get that. It will happen, and it is bound to happen because those people, those process agents or the SMEs are working on that process from 10 years, 5 years. And for you, it's day 1, day 2, day 3. You have just started knowing about this process. Till today, till yesterday, you were unaware of anything like that. So it may happen, and I'm sure it will happen. A lot of time you will feel struggle. You will feel struggle to catch hold of what they're saying. So in my opinion, if you have any such thing where you want to ask questions multiple times, try to make those SMEs your friend. Make them comfortable with you. Make sure you give a good impression about you so that they feel they don't feel hostile. They don't feel that this person is a person with whom I'm not that comfortable. Oh, he's annoying me. Don't give that sense to them. It will always help you if you are able to build a good relationship with them right at the start, so that both of you understand the process. I mean, both of you understand that each other's expectation, and both of you are able to help each other wherever you require. One trick which I have generally used, that a lot of time while you talk to the SME, they might feel that automation is going to take away their job. So they might not be very supportive right at the beginning. This is a general notion which people or the SMEs think. So first of all, you have to make them comfortable that this is going to help you. This is going to benefit you when bot is going to work as your buddy. So this is not going to take away your job. It is actually to take away all that boring job, mundane job on which you have been wasting time, efforts, and your brain, which does not require, that level of intelligence or that level of effort. So the bot is actually your friend. So when you will give such narrative to, those SME, they will feel comfortable. So, long story short, for point number 3 is that you build a good relationship with that person. And once that happens, you can ask them silly questions and they won't judge. They won't feel annoyed and they won't, complain about you that this person is asking too many questions. So that level of friendship, that level of, comfort you have to build. Analytical skills, point number 4, very, very important, because this helps you to think and envisage how the process will look like when the bot is operating. You might have to understand a few validations, a few exceptions. You might ask, why for this particular client, for this particular vendor, we are having a different, process. So analyze. You have to deep dive into the key steps, because a PDD or a process definition document will always have KSD, keystroke document, as its at its epicenter, because keystroke document gives a view of the process steps one by one, field by field. In Excel's, which data field you are putting this information and multiplying with cell DF, and then whatever is happening in that Excel sheet, you should be able to understand, because if you are able to document the exceptions, document the process steps well, your PDD is going to be robust, and that's what you want. So zoom in, zoom out approach, a lot of time you will feel that the SME is, going astray. He is not on the right track. He is, getting distracted, or he is, not aligned with the program vision, or they might say, no, this is not possible at all. This is not going to work with this solution. They might come up with their own set of understanding and own set of judgments. So you have to be vigilant and aligned with the program vision, that whatever you are doing in this process, is it exactly getting mapped to the real value which I'm trying to extract out of this automation? Is it working in the same manner the way the earlier build program or the project plan which we have shared with the client? So you have to think on those lines. So if you're able to sense really well about the the nitty-gritties of the process, if you're able to document things well, if you're able to communicate well, and if you're able to ask right set of questions, you are already a great PA. I hope you all are with me till now. Put a yes in the chat box if you are. I hope I'm audible and clearly visible.
Yes,
Can someone?
you are.
Yes,
Wonderful.
yes, Anurag, you are. Yeah.
Super. All right. Now I have given you a glimpse of the skill set, but why did I focus on those skill sets? Because the BA may face a lot of challenges during the RP implementation. I've listed down 7 challenges which a BA generally faces, and I have faced it multiple times in my past engagements. And you will, why I'm saying that these are the general challenges, because automation, I won't say is very old. A lot of people are knowing about automation lately. I'm talking about those people, those SMEs or those process agents who are having their process automated. They might not be well aware of the technology. They might not know that how automation works. So because of lack of awareness, lack of knowledge, a lot of issues will occur. Let's go one by one and understand the key challenges which are generally faced by the BAs. Process analysis issue. While you are analyzing the issue, maybe you are not asking the right set of questions, or maybe the SME is not telling you the right way in which the process is operated. So your documentation may get affected. The person might be telling the process with a shortcut, or they might not be getting into the nitty-gritties, or they might be just telling you high level, but high level thing won't work. I'm sure while you were going through the prerequisites, you understand that bot requires understanding of each individual keystroke, correct? High level won't work. So the SME may give you half-baked information, or may not share the full set of information, where the real the charm of the process was there. So you have to be specific on your questions, and if required, asking them the questions again, that what is this new step? Why is it required? Because you're not just documenting what they're saying, because tomorrow you have to architect as well about the new process which you want to show to the stakeholder, or which you want to automate. There could be a case where they are doing some things which have not been challenged. I worked with a client where the as-is process had so many areas of improvement, but nobody worked on those improvements, because this is how the new team were taught, or this is how they were operating, and nobody felt that there is a requirement of change. So a lot of times somebody has to give them a nudge. So you are doing it wrong. Why are you doing A, B, D, C? and it's actually A, B, C, D. And why are you doing A, B, C, D, F, G? Where exactly that those last two parts are not required. The process can be taken care with A, B, C, D. You are doing those two things extra, or you are doing this thing way early. They should be done towards this. So while you analyze, you can come up with a number of suggestions and improvements. Business case issue, second part. You will find that the automation, the reason of automation for which you actually, this automation is not giving you the right value or the right, business case. You might think that I'm just automating it, but this is, if this is not fetching you the right set of value, then your efforts may go in vain, and the numbers or the expectations which you have set to the project board. For example, you said that out of this order to cash process, I'm gonna take out this much hours of manual work or this many FTEs. But while you did the analysis, you found that no, this process just talks about 0.1 FTE or 0.2 FTE. The real work is actually distributed among 7 FTE, and they are from different teams. This SME works on just 0.1 or 0.10 part of it. There you will find issues while building the business case. To explain it to the project board that why you are doing this automation, they might ask you a number of counter questions that why did you pick this process? A lot of time the SME will say this will help to cut down the overall time, but you will have to align with the motive or the agenda of the automation. If your agenda of the automation is about FTE release, if the motive of the agenda is about manual hour saving, then you have to align with the original plan. So business case issue are some of the key issues or the general issues which are encountered, because these things occur only and only when you get a download of the process. At high level, you might say, oh, I can release 3 FT from here, I can release 4 FT from here. But when you actually sit down and get a download from the SME, then you realize, oh, the real work was distributed among 4 people, and this particular person is just responsible of 1/10 part of it. So a lot of things may emerge later. So you will have to be very vigilant and very focused and cautious and conscious about the business case for which you promise to the project board. Issues during the RPA development, a lot of time your developers might come to you and ask you questions that, this process, while I am building the code, is, not aligned how the overall process looks like. You might miss a step. A BA can be questioned by a developer. So you have to go back to the SME, sit with them, do the analysis. So during RPA development, you have to be very close to the developers to make sure that the development timeline, is taken care, and the developers don't feel issues about the PDD which you have created and got a sign off from the SME. A lot of time I have seen that, a signed off PDD also have issues. Ideally, a signed off PDD should be the starting point of a development. But there are areas, areas where the SMEs were not aware of those things, or maybe they kept those things secret with them. They didn't want to, expose all the information. So such things may also happen where a signed off PDD would still be incomplete, and you have to rework on the PDD. This is a real-time scenario which I have experienced, and a lot of time you may feel that, since the sign-off is already given, why are we making those changes again? Since then you have to be really sharp in your communication. And if you think that the sign-off PDD is what should work now, and I cannot go back and ask questions, and I don't have time because my timeline is getting affected, then you have to be clear in your communication that we will take care of that exception later, maybe in phase 2, maybe whenever this enhancement on any issue happens. But right now we are proceeding with this PDD, whatever you have signed off. So such things will happen. Responsibilities mismanagement will happen. A lot of time the SME has to give you document, the person will not give you the document. The person may not share you complete information. You might expect that SME to be available at that point of time. He won't be available. He will say, no. I don't think automation is my priority right now. My priority is my process work. I'm getting paid for my process work. Automation is just an initiative, being put on us. We are not from the automation team. We don't care too much about your initiative. They might feel that, this is actually being put on them. A lot of time it will happen. I have seen such things, too much, honestly, because of biasness and lack of awareness. A lot of people may think that the automation team is going to take away their job, and they will not support you the way they should. They might skip those meetings. They might take more than required in sending a document, in sending an information. Then as a BA, being considerate of the timeline, you have to sometime escalate, sometime send some notes where you are tagging them, where you are putting some pressure on them. If required, making them understand that this is not something which you are asking them to do for your personal work. This is something which is a part of enterprise-led initiative. So kindly support. So these things which are general things which you will feel, which you will face while you work on the RPA processes. But in my opinion, and the way I have maneuvered my automation journey, I always make sure that I become friends with these SME. I take them on my side. I help them understand RPA. I explain them how it works, how they can become a part of this technology, so that they feel elevated and motivated to work with me, work along with me, contribute with me, support me. So like I mentioned earlier, you have to become good friends with the process agents, so that with their supportive, kind, and your knowledgeable behavior, they feel that they can really help you in this initiative. But I hope I gave you the real side of real true picture of the challenges which you face as a BA. But nothing to worry about, because like I mentioned, if you catch hold of the roles and responsibility of a BA, you will understand with whom you have to push, how much, where exactly you need to be really sharp in your communication. So all those things you will learn eventually, and as per the project, as per the timeline, you actually sail your ship. All right. This is a general indicative career path for a BA. I have maneuvered my career like this, and a lot of you can relate and may feel that this is how you may also proceed, because as a BA, you work not just as a BA, but as a consultant, as a project manager, depending on the kind of project you're working with, depending on the kind of stage you're working on. Because as a consultant, you have to give information, you have to give knowledge, you have to pitch about the solution to a lot of project members. There you are improving your communication skill. You are being close to that environment in which the senior members operate. So that will help you to work with senior people. And project manager generally, operates in such system, such environment. So you start feeling like a PM. This is what I have felt, that, since you are reporting about key issues, since you are going to, document every information, so you understand the, ground realities of the project. And then when you talk to the senior people or the project board members, you talk with substance. You have that level
Hi.
of, confidence.
Yeah, I'm in this BA training.
Yes, you are in a BA training, correct?
You can continue, Anurag. Please,
Sure.
everyone, keep on mute until the Q&A, just for the sake of getting a clear recording, and then during Q&A, we'll allow everyone to unmute. Thank you.
Thank you. So you understand the responsibilities of a PM, correct? So you actually start doing some of the key roles or responsibilities of a PM, because you have to keep an eye on the risks, you have to keep an eye on the timeline, you have to, be very, clear with the communication. So all those things lead you to take some, bigger position in your project eventually. And in your career in automation, a lot of time the project manager will give you responsibility to act like a manager, correct? So this is how I have maneuvered my career. I always felt that, I have leadership skill, I can manage a team, and I can manage documentation, I can talk to the SMEs well. So eventually the leadership will think, okay, this person is capable enough, then we can ask him to act as a project manager. We can give him a separate project to take care of it and manage the developers well. And then over the years, you will feel that, your leadership skills is improving, your, management skills are improving, your people management skills are improving. Then you can maneuver your career in this direction. So this is an indicative general career path. In my opinion, it may vary with, different people, different, learnings, but this is my opinion about the career path for a BA. Towards the end, you move to the management and you can lead projects, you can lead the complete programs. Now we will talk about the key business analyst activities, which we already talked about, and documentation. Okay. This is about the discovery stage. The discovery stage is that stage where you are building the documents, you are taking the download, you are sitting with the SME, and you are understanding how the process will look like when automated. We have 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we'll get into a Q&A. So it's a framework with which I have operated in my career. This is how I take on those business analyst engagements, those assignments, and it has helped me immensely. First is set the stage. Okay, understand the ecosystem. A lot of things out of this slide I have already talked about, so I'll just connect you to those earlier said words. Okay, I'll not deep dive into each and the individual point, but I have spoken already. So just connect with what I have, what I'm just going to say. Understand the ecosystem, because you have to understand with what kind of people are you working with, what kind of domain are you working with. Is this domain familiar with you, or do you need to work on your domain knowledge to get into the dynamics of the process, understand how the process works out? So understand the people, understand the domain. Okay, by ecosystem, I mean the people and the domain. If you think that the project manager with whom you're working at the client and is really a person strict about timeline and deadline, then you have to be really, sharp with your, communication and your, punctuality and discipline in that project. Identify tools. Make sure that you have all set of all set of tools to, fight the battle. Correct. You have right set of arms and ammunition in your arsenal. You have those, tools with which you have to create those design documents. You have to create those process maps. Correct. Be it Visio or be it any other tool with which you have to build a process map. So you have to be really ready when you get into those discovery stage. Define workshop schedule. Don't push those workshop on somebody until and unless asked for, but make sure that you get a confirmation from the SMEs for their availability while you schedule the workshop. This is very, very, very important. And you inform the stakeholders that this is what I'm doing as a part of the plan. I have contacted these people and they will help me in process download. Do not ever do such thing where you are just pressurizing or bombarding your ask on the process SME. They might feel frustrated, they might feel annoyed, and they may say, no, I don't think this is my real work. My real work is different. I cannot support you. You may go to that place, or you might join the meeting with a hope that today you will get the process download, and it may happen that they will not turn up. It has happened to me n number of times, but I have learned eventually that you have to become supportive. You have to take their buy-in. You have to make sure they understand the agenda well. Then they will be able to help you. Set expectation really clear that RPA can do this thing only. RPA cannot automate something which is there in your mind. RPA bot cannot automate which requires intelligence or your experience. Bot understand logics. If A is equal to B is equal to C and that equation is there, the bot will be able to understand. But if you think that you are doing this step because everybody in the team is doing this and it is not documented anywhere, the bot will not be able to understand. I may understand, the SME may understand, but to make sure the bot understand, we have some sort of logic. We have to set right expectation right from the beginning, and then you inform about the limitation. Get an understanding the part two. Now the real work gets started. You initiate the initial process assessment. You choose a good RPA use case which actually aligns with your program objectives. Is RPA automation worthy? If required beyond RPA, you have intelligent automation, robotic process automation, plus AI becomes intelligent automation. If you think that this is not going to work with just plain RPA, I'm going to move to intelligent automation. I will bring OCR because this particular use case has involvement of images, and my bot cannot automate or extract the image. So I'll have to bring a component, an intelligent automation component called OCR, with which I will extract information from the image. So you have to choose the right RPA use case, because that will decide, how good or how bad your automation will be. Collate all information really well, or as is to be maps and PDD, is something which you create. But as is documentation, if the team already has built at their end, which they use to train new joinees in the team, get that information, extract the essence of that document and write it in your understanding. I always do whatever they do. I get access, and this is a tip which I'm sharing with you. I make sure that whatever the SME is doing at his or her end, I'm also able to do at my end with the right set of access. So I take access and I operate the way they actually work in that process. This helps to consolidate plus solidify my understanding in my mind, and then definitely on the piece of paper. Third is document your understanding, build PDDs and maps, complexity analysis. You have to understand, where exactly you have to bring the extra component, where exactly things become complex. If it's a high complexity process, am I doing the right set of steps? Am I missing any step which is a part of validation? When everything is done, then you build a PDD, then you send it to the client. The person signs off, and then you start, the development. Three things which I have put asterisks here, the pipeline management, conduct bot sizing and pricing, and build proposal. These are some of the additional activities which may come your way when you gain more experience. If you're starting your journey as a BA, a lot of time, these three things may not be applicable. But if you are a seasoned BA, you have already there in the automation space and you have quite some experience in this space, there could be an expectation to work on building the pipeline for the automation. You might help the pre-sales team in sizing and pricing the bot. You might have to conduct the feasibility analysis of a process. You have to sit with the architect and brainstorm that how many bots will be placed in this automation. And then if you are building on a proposal, you will have to price the bot as well. So these are additional things which may come your way when you gain more experience. So I have worked in all such areas, and this is what a BA do in the discovery stage. So these things are not primarily a part of discovery stage, but this is also which you will be doing if you are building a career, and I'm sure that you are going to have a long journey in this automation world. Things to keep in mind. Now we are towards the end of our session. Things to keep in mind, this is more about do's and don'ts. Ask a lot of questions. Wherever you think you're not clear, please ask questions. So process maps are the blueprint on which the automation solution lies. So make sure your PDD is really, really solid and robust. Okay. Deviation from the agreed maps affects cost, timelines, and unhappy clients. So this is very important that, wherever there is any deviation, you inform them and you raise a red flag wherever you think, you have issues where things will not work the way you want, and every information should be documented. A lot of process may contain sensitive information. So you will have to be very, very, careful while you deal with that data. Never share any confidential information. Make sure you understand what kind of document is this. If it's a public document, private document, confidential document, you have that categorization clear in your mind while you operate and deal with those documents. So these are some of the things which you should be vigilant while you work as RPA BA. Now coming to the PDD, you already know about this document. I'm just sprinkling, my set of knowledge on this, because PDD is the core. I should use some strong word. The most, this is what you have to build. Okay, this is something only a BA is required to build, and PDD is actually the blueprint of the entire process. Okay, which you build in your own language and pass it to the developer. So include all those things: author, approver, document version, process owner, process reviewer, process SME. I will show you a PDD right now, a PDD built by a UiPath team. So I'll show you that PDD, but I'm sure while you were working on those prerequisites and learning the traditional business analysis, you would have gone through a PDD, because PDD is the Bible. PDD automation will revolve around this PDD, but this has to be the best thing which emerge out of that discovery phase. Okay, so I'll open this PDD sample and then I will talk about it. But PDD will have as is information about the process. It will tell you how a process is worked out, which SME at what time works on which particular part of the process. It should be that clear. So I'll open a PDD sample in front of you, and then with that we will end our session, and then we'll have our Q&A. Okay. Taking a bit time. Yeah, it's open. All right, so this PDD is for a process called order to cash. Order to cash is a very, very important tower in a finance and accounting domain. Order to cash has multiple L2s where customer billing, order management, a number of things in order to cash. I'll not get into the specifics order to cash, but I'm just going to talk about how a PDD of this document is being built here. So you will have document history. You will have all sort of, versions in which the document was created. You will have an approval flow, how exactly the approval will be taken, by whom the approval has to come. And then you will have the, objectives, key contacts. And so this is the table of contents. I will jump directly to the contents. So you'll have to define the purpose of the document, objective that, the process has been selected for RPA is account receivables. And by automating this process, we will gain this. Okay, this is something which has to be clearly coming out of the PDD. I mean, whatever you are going to do is going to generate what, is going to give you what. So they are saying that reducing process time per item by 80%. Then key contacts, process SME is this person, reviewer is this person, owner is this person, email ID, phone number, and you must understand the hierarchy in which the client team operates. Minimum prerequisites, the credentials you want, the dependencies on the other project, access, test data, whatever you think you require before you start the automation, which you call prerequisites. Like you had prerequisites to complete before you attend this session. Similarly, whatever you are needing before the automation can start, you have to document carefully. As is process, this is where the beauty lies. And this is the most important thing of PDD. You have to give each and every detailed information about the key things of a process, full name, process area, under which department it is happening, at what time does the process run, what is the frequency, average handling per time, peak period, total FT supporting this activity, everything about the process. I'm not deep diving into it because I know you have already seen this, you have worked on this PDD in your prerequisites, but every smallest detail of the process has to come on this PDD, because this is how you will define the to-be process schedule and frequency. The process runs 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So in the to-be, you may be asked that the bot should be able to send the email before 9 a.m., before the SME reaches his or her office. At 9 a.m. the person starts his or her job. The email should be there in the email box, so that the person starts from there. So you will have to schedule the bot maybe 4 a.m. in the morning, so that it works for an hour. Then by 7 the bot sends that email. So all such things are required. Then only you'll be able to build a great to-be process. You will have to talk about the applications, the as-is process map, how the process looks like, it starts, closes, and the flow of the process, wherever you think there is a deviation. All such things which are moving across multiple applications, multiple steps, have to be documented and come up in a visualized manner, so that it becomes easy for the developer to understand, okay, how the process moves. A lot of time PDD can have a lot of images. I have built PDD with images, because in image, you can show each and every step, so that the SME is able to relate with the screens, listed in the document. So you can include images in the PDD. There could be a questionnaire which you have built earlier. You will have all those answers listed there. Data collection, you will have, to-be process map, how the bot will have its presence in the process. That will be showcased through to-be process map. Now, the process map may look similar as of an as-is map, but then you will highlight those areas in which the bot is taking care of the process. Earlier, the human was taking care, but now a few steps the bot will be taking care. A few steps the human will be taking care. So the to-be step has to come really, really well. What is in scope? What is out of scope? Very important. If you have something which you think is not is not going to get covered by a bot, is out of limitations for a bot, you have to highlight that really, really well. What is in scope? You mentioned step 1 to 10. If you mess up in this area, you might have to do some additional work for no money. Your project manager will bash you, why did you included this process step in scope where it included the component of OCR. We have not charged for OCR. Why did you do this? So you'll have to be very, very careful while you list the in-scope activity. If something is coming out of scope and the process owner or the leader wants you to, include it, maybe this may come with a change request, CR request, or this may be included, with the timeline, increased, then you can say that we can include this, but then it will have additional 2 weeks of effort. So all those things will, happen through discussions, but you have to be really, really careful in scope and out scope of RPA. Exceptions, those deviations from the happy flow, which already will come under exception, known exceptions, and something which you don't know may come without any notice. You might not even know, how this exception came. The SME might not even know, or maybe SME was knowing, but the person didn't share the information. All those things will come under unknown exceptions. You can't actually list down unknown exceptions because they will come and give you a surprise, but you will have to notify that what to do when such unknown exception will be there. For example, you have to send an email notification to this team when something unexpected happens, and you have to give a call to action for anything which is an unknown exception. Similarly, for errors, you have to define what to do, error name, parameter section to be taken. So once all those things are listed down, you have to just build a solid PDD and share it with the process team for their set of validation. So this is on the PDD part. Last thing before on a lighter note, a lot of time you will have to jump on automation directly. So make sure you understand the process well. And I'm sure with this image, you are able to understand this person is directly jumping to automation. There could be areas where you have to standardize the process, where you have to streamline the process. Then the process will become automatable. Okay, there could be ERP functionalities which you can use instead of automation. So in order to have a great automation, there are areas in which you have to move step by step. Then you can actually build a great automation program. So, but that can only and only come when you have great understanding of the process. You understand, how are they operating, and if they're operating in an incorrect direction, you have to guide them. You have to standardize, streamline, and then move to automation. With this, I come to an end to my session today. I hope I was able to give you the real life insight and my personal experiences in this automation domain. I'm open to questions now.
Thank you, Anurag. We're not going to be able to answer all the questions, but we will send those out. Mukesh, do you have a couple of questions that we can ask Anurag?
Yes, Anurag. So I have selected some of the questions which might be relevant for the audience, right? So this one is from Geeta Vijay. She says, hi Anurag, how different is a BA role when compared to a project manager who is already handling an application development project where customer requires automation solution from his business applications? How these two roles are different?
Correct. So there can be two parts. One, that you are project manager for a same kind of automation, or you are a project manager for a different set of application. If you are in the same category, if you're in the same line, it will become easy for you to differentiate between the two roles. A project manager will be responsible for n number of things, maybe from the cost part of it, maybe from the budgeting part of it, maybe from the effort estimation part of it. But a BA in the same team, if there are clear defined roles available, a BA will be more focused on getting the PDD sorted, getting the download of the process from the SME, building the document, and helping the development team. Correct? So there is a clear demarcation between the roles, but that depends the kind of COE you're operating in. If the SME teams are different, the project manager is working on a different application, the BA is working on a different application, there could be, an area which individual team member has to take care. The project manager has to take care and the BA has to take care. But if you are in the same team, same kind of setup, a BA may step up as a project manager and take care of a few responsibilities, depending on the kind of experience the BA has and depending the kind of knowledge the BA has. I hope I was able to answer the question.
Great.
And-
So this is the second question,
And
Anurag,
Mukesh,
which
sorry.
is
Sorry,
Yeah.
Mukesh, just to add on one Anurag point, if the very first slide deck that Anurag has shared regarding the UiPath implementation methodology model, if you will go into that slide, that will give you a little bit more details about these roles. If you will go here, this slide is a very useful slide. It gives you where the solution architect is involved, business analyst involved, or project manager is involved. For example, in the deployment and the hypercare, it is the project manager that is working, not the business analyst. So this slide, go through this slide, what Anurag has just mentioned, it will give you more clarity about where both will come into picture, where they will work together, where one will work and other will not work.
awesome. Thank you for adding that. Okay, so Anurag, this is a common question, which is I would same question but in a different flavor. So this is like, how can we start our BA career without any experience in it, right? So I see there are a lot of people who are just starting and just looking. They don't have any experience, right? How can they start it with a BA career?
Correct. Like I mentioned earlier, BA is a functional role. Okay, you can make it techno-functional role, but primarily it is a functional role. Depending on the kind of expertise and your love for automation, you can techno-functional role. It's Diwali time here, crackers are bursting. But you can make it a techno-functional role. But ideally, analyst, what does an analyst do? An analyst primarily understands a process and documents. Understanding and documenting. These are the two key roles which an analyst generally do. And then you top up with RPA, then you do the analysis for RPA processes. RPA is about automation, where something which is mundane, something which is boring, something which is repetitive, voluminous, is taken care by a bot. If you're doing RPA business analysis, you're already becoming a techno-functional person. Okay. But if you are not an RPA BA, because the question is more centered about BA and RPA BA. So as a BA, you fit with the customer, you understand the requirement, you do a requirement gathering session with them, and then you document. So if you are building an automation program, you are thinking from the automation perspective. Okay, the bot will do like this. So I'll have to ask a question from that perspective, whether the bot will be able to do or not. So that sort of, questioning will become different when you're doing an RPB analysis. But the core is the general B analysis, in which you do requirement gathering, you take a download of the process, and you document. If you're able to do all such things, you can very well build your career in automation. And this is a great field. I have seen a lot of non-tech person moving to this technology, because this is the point with which you can do that switch. You can do that switch because you just have to add a flavor of technology to it. And RPA, UiPath had made RPA so easy to learn that, non-tech folk can very well easily tech and can very well become an RPA BA. So it's a great opportunity. I want, people who are not from the automation domain to, start giving some time and, just being there in this space. You will automatically learn. Those of you who have joined this call have actually taken a giant step, to be honest. Very, very big step. And I'm sure that, with these sessions, you will be able to, learn how easy it is to move from a non-tech profile to a tech profile, or the BA profile to a RPA BA profile. I hope I was able to answer.
Okay, so guys, we have a lot of questions. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to put a UiPath forum link, which is having a dedicated page on UiPath forum. So if there are any questions which are not answered on the chat or online, you can just go to this link and post your query, right? So this would be the link which would be shared and would be available on the sessions pages as well, right? So over to Christina and Diana.
Mukesh,
Yeah.
I will just reshare the whole set of links I shared before we entered into Q&A, so they can.
I'll do that.
My
Yes.
suggestion is to like copy paste and save them in a separate file, because you will need all these links to move forward, and you will be able to go back on any information with these links, and the forum thread will be your support from now on, and every week the trainers for that week will support you in the forum thread as well as us. I would like just to ask Anurag, if possible, to answer one more question, because I think this is pretty essential and I think many people are wondering that. We have a question regarding coding, programming, developer expertise needed in order to become a BA, and whether you can clarify on that question.
Sure. See, RPA BA does not require to code. There is a separate role which we call RPA developer, correct? But RPA BA is required to understand how the coding happens. That's how you become techno-functional. If you want to become a techno-functional from a functional person, because developer is a clear role in which you have to, get into the nitty-gritties of the tool, UiPath Studio, and then build a code. But then, if you understand how this happens, and without coding, you can actually have a great successful RPA BA journey. I can assure you. In the initial days of my career, while I was a BA, I understood how developers work. That helped me to, build a map in my mind that this process will actually, move to this stage by a bot like this. This is how you drag this, function. But you're not required to code. With little knowledge around the, way the code is built, you can very well have a great career in automation and in this RPA BA space.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anurag. And I would just ask, I see we have a lot of very good feedback for today. And please remember, you can still register for the series. So anyone who participated and enjoyed today's session, please take the BA series link and share your experience on LinkedIn. Feel free to do that after the session today and give us feedback, and let your network know about this series and your experience with the BA series. Thank you. Diana?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for today's session. Thank you, Anurag. Thank you, Atul, for speaking to the BA roles and today's session. Looking forward to seeing everybody this Wednesday. We've got a lot more in store for you, so just be patient as we go through all this. It's a great program. Thank you, Mukesh and Dan and Chris for helping with the chat, and everybody else on this team. We will see you on Wednesday.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.